This is the data center I chose for Final Fantasy 14. Let's go.
Cloudie McDoom.
Like, comment, and subscribe.
Let's go.
Well, it looks like Cloudie McDoom, that's me, has finally been converted to the world of Final Fantasy 14 Online. How the f did this happen? All jokes aside, I made the plunge on a complete whim last week after stream. You see, I was sitting upstairs and had the random thought, hey Cloudie, how funny would it be if you just like appeared in the world of Final Fantasy 14 next week? Like, what's stopping you? And once I realized that I couldn't give myself an efficient answer to that question, I found myself downstairs installing the game at like 3 a.m. And so yeah, that's how it got me, out of nowhere. But moving on. Now, before I announce my decision to everyone, I would first like to give a big shout out to my sugar mama mod McGuffin stuff of the squad. Besides basically taking care of me like an oversized black baby, she actually took it upon herself to locate these breakdowns for each server with a brief description for each one. Now, obviously these are subjective as everyone has a different experience with, well, anything in life. But I thought it might be interesting to read these aloud, and you can maybe leave a comment if any of these ring true, or if it's just widespread hearsay. Yes, I said hearsay. And yes, that's a joke about a certain celebrity court case that's happening right now. That shall remain nameless, but it rhymes with Bonnie, crept, and angry words. Now, even with all the information, which was highly educational, I might add, I'm still cognizant to the fact that I'll be experiencing Final Fantasy 14 in my own unique way. In other words, Cloudie McDoom's experience, that's me, will most likely differ from other players or even non-players who are watching this video right now. Okay, so first up we have Crystal North America, and I'm gonna essentially read off the worlds and what they're known for. Now, first we have Balmung, largest role-playing community in the game, unofficial RP server on Crystal, primary RP server in general, extremely congested population with a low market board price due to high supply. Next we have Brynhildr. If I'm not mistaken, isn't the name of Saza's summon in FF13? I'm probably dead wrong if someone's gonna like come for my neck in the comments. That's okay. It looks to be a small, quiet community. Next we have Coral, an excellent community for organizing and killing hunts, strong open world monsters. Okay, great, like adamantoids, maybe an army of behemoths or something. Probably a bunch of other monsters I'm not even privy to since I haven't played the game. Next we have Diabolos, which is a quiet and disparate community. Players tend to mind their own business, but still friendly enough when it counts. Okay, so that seems like maybe they just kind of focus on what they're doing at that time, and maybe they'll speak to you when the need arises. Next we have Goblin, also quiet, but players usually stick to their own groups and communities. So it sounds like Diabolos and Goblin are kind of one and the same. Next we have Marlboro, a mix of Goblin and Ultros, quiet with a particular reputation for toxicity. Ugh, yikes. Next we have Matthias, which is another role-playing server on Crystal. Heavy role-playing bias as non-RP players are generally frowned upon by those active in the community. And then we have Zeigler, which is casual community with a decent rating population. And that was the breakdown of Crystal. And again, I don't know anything about these servers since I've never played Final Fantasy 14 Online, so please don't shoot the messenger. Again, I'm just reading this documentation that I received from my mod, so yeah. Up next, we have Primal North America. First world being Behemoth, hardcore in-game community with a sizable Brazilian population. Next, we have Excalibur, which is another hardcore rating server, while Exodus, on the other hand, looks to be a casual rating community. Next up, we have Frit, laid back and friendly to new players like Adamantoids. Hyperion, which seems to be a good mix of hardcore players. Active role-playing community as the unofficial RP server on Primal. Largest Spanish-speaking community. Ha! Muy bien. Next up, we have Lamia, which seems to be a tight-knit, cozy community, and casual to semi-hardcore raiders. Decent Spanish-speaking population, and some popular YouTubers, content creators, and raid teams exist here. I'll have to keep that in mind. And next up, we have Leviathan, which seems to be Primal's premier hardcore raiding server, like Gilgamesh on Aether, but it seems to be a congested population. And next up we have Ultros, which has a polarizing reputation. Usually quiet and helpful to new players, but notorious for some trolls. But they aren't numerous enough to define the server. And last but not least, we have Aether North America. First world being Adamantoids, which is laid back with a friendly vibe as mentioned before, and great for new players. Next up we have Cactuar, mainly in-game focused, with a large Spanish-speaking community. Third on the list we have Fairy, welcoming and helpful to new players while also being a highly social and talkative community. It seems to be very LGBTQ friendly, which is nice from an inclusion standpoint, with plenty of glamour items for sale on the market board, and apparently has very fashionable players, which honestly makes perfect sense given the name of the world, respectfully. Next up on the list is Gilgamesh, which is a hardcore raiding community. Unofficial Reddit server with a large and congested population. Next up we have Geneva, which is a friendly atmosphere and a decent raiding community. Next on the list we have Midgarzormer, Midgard Sore Mister. Okay. Next we have Midgard Sore Mister, which is casual to semi-casual players. Next up we have Sargatanus. Okay, these names are getting creative. Seems to be an active raiding community and home to several Final Fantasy XIV streamers and YouTubers. And last but not least on the list for Aether is Siren, which seems to be welcoming, social, and LGBTQ friendly as well, just like Fairy, with a large crafting community. That's really cool. And there you have it, everyone. The breakdown for each North American data center in their respective worlds. And one more time for the people in the back. I imagine these are just opinions that have been collected over time, but I myself have no dog in this fight nor a chocobo to race with because I've yet to experience the game, which, as the video title suggests, will change in the near future. So without further ado, I think it's time for me to finally give you what you've been waiting for. Yes, ladies, gentlemen, and otherwise, it's time for me to tell you which data center I will be starting with. Let's get it. But no, thank you guys so much for the support. All the Final Fantasy videos I've been doing since like the pandemic and on. Roderick is already Mac Kitty Mac. Make it rain. No, seriously, thank y'all for real. Like that means so much to me as a creator. I love you guys. I can't wait to get into Final Fantasy XIV. This is not an easy decision. That this Wednesday on twitch.tv/Cloudie McDoom, I am going to be joining Listen. I had to do it. I had to pick Primal. Most of the people in my Discord right now in the squall have been pushing for that. I was this close to doing Crystal just to spite some people in Discord, but then I remember, hey, that's family, that's love, that's support for me, you know what I'm saying? It would be unfair for me to bypass what they've been requesting this whole time. Also, I'm gonna be streaming twice a day now, so more than likely the Final Fantasy XIV streams will start in the daytime. I'll stop, and then later in the evening I'll do like my one-player games and stuff like that. That's the situation. Thank you guys for being patient with my decision. Crystal was really close. Crystal was very, very close. And I actually want to take this time to give a special thank you to one very particular person. This woman has really been trying to get me to join Final Fantasy XIV for the longest time. She's a diehard fan, part of the squall. We love her. Besides the time she tried to usurp me during Squall in 2021. Anyway, so I'm gonna dedicate this video to the one, the only,